Let me see. A couple questions. One more question just came in. Michael says, "Hey, what's up, Michael? Best tips for following up with bankers after networking calls to keep the connection warm." Yeah, I mean, so Michael, like, first of all, if you've had a networking call with them, always send a thank you email right after the networking call, right? First and foremost, like, be appreciative that they took the time out of their busy schedule to talk to you. And then after that, like, typically, I tell my clients, like, you don't want to just constantly hit them up all the time for no reason. Like, they're very busy and they don't want to be spammed, right? But the times when I would follow up with them is like, if there's actually like a very notable update in your life or in your recruiting process, then you can keep them up to date, right? And you frame it as like, hey, because they've been so helpful to you and you're grateful for their help, you just wanted to keep them posted on the progress that you've been making, right? Otherwise, like, even if there's no notable updates, like, at a minimum, I tell my students, like, probably like once every 3 months, try to check in with your contacts, send them like an update email. You can even have like the same update email that you're sending to everybody, right? I mean, you probably should customize it a little bit, to be honest, but you can have like a rough template. And typically, like, the format of that email, um, first of all, I'll send it in the same thread as any prior email correspondences that you already have with them, so that they don't forget that they've already talked to you before, because they talk to a lot of people, so they may or may not remember you, right? Um, but I'll reply to that same thread and I'll say, hey, so and so, like, hope you've been well since the last time we talked. Just want to check in, give you a real quick update on what I've been up to. Here are the things that I've been doing. Boom, boom, boom. Relevant thing number one, relevant thing number two, relevant thing number three. It could be like, I took this class in school that was like, super relevant, or I did this internship, or I did this case competition, or I took on, like, this leadership position, this club, whatever it is that you want to tell them on, right? That's been happening in the last 2 or 3 months. The other thing that's always really good to do is, like, presumably after the last time, or presumably during your last conversation with them, you probably asked them some questions. They probably gave you some advice, right? So ideally, whatever advice they gave you, you've actually gone out and acted on that advice since the last time you talked to them. So what is, like, really important is for you to basically give them an update on, like, hey, by the way, like, I went out and did that thing that you told me to do last time, and this was the positive result, fill in the blank, that I got from doing that, right? So what you're doing there is you want the bankers to feel like, oh, wow, like, I gave this guy advice and he actually took me up on it. He actually listened to what I was saying. He actually went out and acted on it, which a lot of people don't actually do that, right? So if most people don't do that and you're actually doing that, and you're showing them that, hey, when you give me advice, I'm actually going to go act on it. One, it makes them feel good because they actually made a difference for you and they actually had a positive impact on you. And people always want to, feel like they had a positive impact on other people, but also you're conditioning them to want to continue to help you more, right? So now they're going to be more likely to continue to give you even more advice, right? And so if you have anything like that, you definitely want to update them on that. And then, like, usually I like to end that email with, like, a question, right? Because you want to create an open loop, and you want to maybe ask them another quick question that's going to require them to give you a response. That way they'll actually reply to your email, and so you know that they actually saw. Because otherwise, a lot of times, like, when people send these networking emails saying you don't get responses, and you're wondering, like, oh, well, did they actually see my email or not? Or are they just ignoring me? Like, I know, like, people get really anxious about it, right? And so that's, like, the high level, like, framework. That's just, like, one of the many scripts, or email scripts, or whatever, templates, if you want to call it that we kind of, like, teach our clients. Like, there's a lot more of that inside of our program, but a lot of thought goes into what we actually say in these emails, right? Like, I don't know how you guys write your emails, but a lot of times, like, I see networking emails that college students write, or like, or even, like, back when I was in banking and people send me networking emails, it's like they're very poorly written. And if your emails are poorly written, like, you're not going to get a response, right? So you got to make sure you're thoughtful about, and strategic, and very deliberate about what you're including and what you're not including, right? And then, like, be concise and to the point. No one wants to read, like, a super long email because they don't have time for that, right? So that's my advice for you. Hopefully that helps, Michael. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're looking for more customized advice that's tailored for your specific situation, then I invite you to book a free strategy session with our team at the link below. We'll talk to you soon.